Hello everyone, welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to wrap up this quick and dirty boat drawing, and then we're going to discuss how you turn this information into a mold for our boat build. In the last video, we had plotted our points for waterline 7 down here in the half breadths view, and the video ended abruptly, but I fared this out and connected those dots, and what I saw was that when fairing this, it didn't want to hit the point on station 1 waterline 7. It wanted to go a little bit outside of that. And so when you miss a point when creating a long line, you then want to take the new point where it does hit station 1 and make a mark here in your body plan view, and then try to redraw that new station line. So everything that you draw in this area is going to affect the lines in this body plan view. So I've made some adjustments to those lines, kind of move this one halfway, move this one halfway, kind of met in the middle. Also, I think our points for station 5 might be a little weird, so I kind of wanted to make an adjustment there. This point needs to move out a little bit further, and so I'm going to make that adjustment real quick. And this is just, I'm just sketching this in. If I wanted to do a real clean job, I would be using some sort of drawing aid, a batten or a French curve. But this is just a demonstration. Okay, so now we have waterline 7 down here. We have our shear in half breadths, our shear in our profile. The shear's drawn in here in the body plan. And sometimes these curves here down towards the bottom of the boat can be a little difficult to dial in because they're coming at a steep angle to these water lines, and so just a little variation can change its location quite a bit. So there's 2 more lines that will help in finalizing our body plan drawing. One is a butt line, or a buttock. These are lines that are vertical in the body plan, and they're cutting through the boat along its length. And so slice the boat this way, it will give you a line in our profile view. So if we take all of these points, this is butt 9. It's not on the table of offsets, but it's 9 inches from our center line, and cuts through the boat, and so it intersects the shear here, station 1 here, station 2, 3, and 4. And so where it intersects with those stations, we can take measurements there, and at the shear, we make our point, station 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the transom. And so also butt number 9 cuts through both sides, both halves of the boat, or in our body plan. But it's one cut all the way down here. So it'll intersect the shear 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here it intersects 5, 6, and the transom. And so you take those measurements and you make a mark all the way down the boat, and then we'll grab a tool and fair those points. I had this pre-bent, so it didn't take forever. Okay, and this is our butt for our 9-inch butt line. And so then you can see if it blows past any points on here when you're fairing, maybe you would want to move that point. So this one is a little bit off my mark for station 1, just a hair. So in station 1, where it intersects with butt 9, I may want to move that or make an adjustment in the table of offsets. But butts can be helpful in fairing out these lower sections of the station. So after drawing in all your water lines, 3, 7, 12, 18, we've only done 7 here, but after you draw in all your water lines and maybe a couple butt lines, I had planned to do a butt at 6 inches and one at 9 inches. You get a couple of those, and once you're confident that this body plan is going to create all fair, nice, long lines, then you have 3 options. You can use the table of offsets that you've created from this body plan, and you can use that table of offsets to create molds. You can make a model. You can loft it, which is drawing the boat full size, and then you can, when drawing the boat full size, you can get even more accurate with this information, and that's really the best way to create a really solid foundation for building your boat. We're gonna go through real quick and make a small model of this body plan, and then we'll talk about how you make a full-size mold. One thing I haven't mentioned is that the transom in this body plan is not viewed flat. It is at an angle. So we're going to have to do something tricky to get the true shape of the transom. So because it's at an angle, it'll get longer in this dimension as it's laid flat. And what we want is the true dimension of the transom when it's flat. So in order to project the transom into its true shape, we need to redraw the transom at this height rather than this height. So we're going to project the transom out here. And to do that, we'll use our water lines, and where they intersect with the transom in the profile view, and we'll use those as water lines now and draw them perpendicular to this line rather than being perpendicular to this line. So now those are coming out at this angle. And our butt lines are perpendicular to those, or parallel to the transom now. And those were at 6 inches and 9 inches. And now at those points, at the water lines and at the butt lines where they intersect with the curve of the transom, we'll take those measurements out from the center line over here and plot them out from our new center line out here. Same with our butts. We'll take the location of our butts and plot those over here. Okay, so you have your water lines projected out, and where the butts meet the transom, at that point you want to project that out. And where that butt line meets the transom, and when projected out meets the butt marking in your projection at 9 inches, there will be a point there. So you'll measure out at the water lines and put a point at each projected water line. And then where any butt intersects with the transom, you will project that out and put a point there. And then the shear, that's projected out, and it will be the same width at the shear up here. So here I've redrawn this so that we can just have a clean space to work on. Okay, now I've fared through all those points, and now I have what should be our projected transom, which should look much like that one, just a little bit stretched out in this direction. And this is what we'll use for our model, not this one. Okay, now we're going to assemble a simple model that'll illustrate how our mold is going to be used in building the boat. I've glued our drawing down to some paperboard I had lying around with some spray glue. And first we're going to cut out our body plan at station 4. At station 4 we did a mirror image on both sides. But this will be a half model, I think. We'll just do 1/2 down the center line. So I have another piece of poster board here, and I'll line up my center line. Mark the baseline, and then just trace around this at station 4. And mark for the shear. And then I'll do the same with station 3. And on and on. Okay, so here I've traced out my station molds onto this piece of poster board, and now I'm going to start cutting these out and getting ready to fasten them to our profile view. And I'm leaving a little bit of extra on the left-hand side of our center line just to use as a folded over tab so I can glue it down. Okay, now that we've cut out all of our pieces, and these are our stations from the body plan. I've labeled them all, and then I left a little bit extra to fold over, made some tabs to glue, and we'll glue our stations onto our profile at the station spacing, and we'll create a rough half model of a boat. Okay, I've got all the stations glued down to the profile view, and now you can kind of see how all of that, what looks like the body plan view here, is now expanded into half of a rowboat. And here's the transom. This is our projected transom at an angle, so it should look fairly appropriate. So there's a pretty quick little model. Next week we'll take a look at a full-size mold that I'm in the process of building a boat on, and it's very similar to this boat that we drew, and we'll talk about how all these molds are stabilized and fastened to what we call a strong back, and then that's the framework that our framing and planking will be fastened around. Take care and have a good week.